What's up, disciplined investor?
We got Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick here with us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Nash.
Peter Schiff on the Power Hour with us live today. Interesting, different, unique, innovative companies. Mia, you are live with us on the Power Hour. What's up?
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Jessica Billingsley, that is the CEO of Akerna, the best trade idea resource out there. Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Monday. My favorite day of the week. We are back at it. Yes, that's right. We are cruising. Welcome to the Power Hour, everybody. Today, we are going to talk about stocks. So I hope that's a good topic of discussion. It's what we talk about every single day. But guys, I'll start today off the way that I start every single day, which is remind you of the point of the show. This show, these 2 hours that we spend together, the reason that we're doing it is because we want this to be the best trade idea resource out there. That's what we're going for, guys. Ideas not just coming from myself, not just coming from Jason, but most importantly, coming from all of you out there in the chat, in the Zinger Nation community. If you're out there, you're watching with us, you're hanging out with us, go ahead, smash that like, and then drop into the chat the stocks that you're trading today. Quick little preview as to what we have coming up. So we have a handful of things to do before our first guest joins us at 12:30. So at 12:30, we're going to bring on Nick from Bull Trade Finder. We are going to talk some swing trading with him. So before we get to him at 12:30, there's a couple of hot stocks to check out. We're going to talk Tesla. We're going to talk crypto stocks. We're going to talk some AMC GME. We are then going to do an update on our Visa covered call trade. If you guys recall, we did a covered call together. We sort of explained why we like to do covered calls, how it helps us de-risk a little bit, how we can basically create our own dividend by leveraging a covered call strategy. So we're going to do a check-in there. I then have an options trade for you guys. So we're going to do a live options trade together on the show. Then at 12:30, Nick from Bull Trade Finder is going to join us at 1 o'clock. We're going to have another batch of guests. And then Jason's going to come on with a few of his stock ideas. But again, guys, first things first, I'm going to say hi in the chat. I'm hanging out over there in the chat. Drop in any tickers that you're looking at today because we're going to have some time to look at your tickers. So, all right. First things first, biggest news of the day. Let's get into it. Here's my trusty Benzinga pro.benzinga.com that I'm always throwing up there on the screen. Biggest news of the day, perhaps the most important news of the day. Coming out of Tesla. Let's see, where can I got to adjust this mic. All right. There it is. All right. So Tesla is announcing that the titles of Elon Musk and Zach Kirkhorn, that's their CFO, have changed to Techno King of Tesla and Master of Coin. So if you're a big Tesla investor and you missed this one, again, check it out right here, coming out of my Benzinga Pro newsfeed. Elon Musk, he will retain his position as CEO, but is changing his title to Techno King of Tesla. And then Zach, their CFO, he's going to keep his position as CFO, but his title is going to be changing to Master of Coin. That's probably the most important news of the day. Definitely the most interesting news of the day. So it's always good to start with a little bit of fun on Mondays. So. All right, guys, there it is. And I'm looking at some of your tickers out here in the chat. PLTR, we'll look at that one. PLTR, SNDL. We will go ahead and look at that one. DPW, we'll look at that when we do the crypto stock run. Where's that at? All right, DPW. All right, what else? SOS, same thing. We'll look at Genius Brands. That's a good one. All right. There we go. There's a batch. We'll keep checking in. We'll keep looking at them. But all right, there's our Tesla news for the day. Tesla news out of the way. Next, let's go to crypto stocks, and then we're going to do ETFs in just a minute here. Special guest Spencer Israel is going to come on and critique our ETF portfolio. But all right, let's talk about crypto stocks. I'm going to start us off, guys. VYGVF, my favorite. Voyager Digital, ripping today. Another, let's see. Come on. There's a first sound effect. All right. Little cash register there, action there. Voyager Digital, this is our crypto stock. This is my crypto stock, the one that I like. Again, guys, I like this one because it's not a crypto exchange or a Bitcoin miner. It's a brokerage, so it makes money on both sides. It's not like you're just dependent on Bitcoin to go up. But what's really interesting with our crypto stocks today, let's click through the group of them. So we have Riot, Mara, Mara. The CEO of Mara, we're actually going to be having on this show in about a month. So if you guys like Mara, there we go. There's that answer for you there. Let's see. DPW is another one in the chat. SOS, right? We can look at eBang. Basically, the takeaway here is that all the crypto stocks are up today, and what's really interesting about that is that it happened despite the price of Bitcoin falling. So check this out. Here's a 5-day. Here's a really small little chart. Here's 5 days of Bitcoin, right? We had this really nice sell off. We got to 60K over the weekend. There was a ton of energy on FinTwit and all over the world. Bitcoin's at $60,000. We finally did it. And then we got some sell off that happened yesterday into today. But the price of these stocks are still up. This is really abnormal. In the past, when we've seen the price of these crypto stock or of Bitcoin fall, the crypto stocks have fallen it, and they've fallen it with like an amplification, and on both sides, right? If Bitcoin is up 5%, the crypto stocks are up 15%. If Bitcoin's down 5%, they're down 15%. That's the way that it's gone in the past. What I think is really interesting is that we have a day where Bitcoin / crypto in general is down, and these stocks are still up. And so I want to throw a question out. First question of the day, throwing it out to Zinger Nation, all of you out there in the chat. If you are bullish on crypto, if you're bullish on Bitcoin at the current price, throw the 1 in the chat. If not, throw the 2. So you're putting in a 2 if you're bearish, throwing in a 1 if you're bullish. When I see Blockchain Brian, they're saying he just signed up for Voyager. He has not tried the app yet. Well, Blockchain Brian, you're going to have to let us know. Come back once you tried it out and let us know how it goes. But I want to see what people think. I use it and like it. Somebody else is saying that it sucks. Tell us why it sucks, because we want to know. All right, and I'm seeing these 1s and 2s roll in, and the group is definitely way more bullish on crypto than they are bearish. I'm more bullish than I'm bearish here as well. And again, what I think is interesting about these stocks today is, okay, we got some Bitcoin selling out of the way. The stocks held up, not only held up, but actually leapt up. They increased in price. So if we get a rally back to that psychological 60,000 mark or above, these stocks should fare very well. Again, guys, I'm going to make the case for Voyager Digital, VYGVF, and I'm going to pull up a nice little Twitter thread for you. But again, the reason why I like this stock in particular, I mean, there's a couple. One, the estimates for their next earnings report, their Q1 earnings, I think are way low, and that they should blow that out of the water. 2, they make money on both sides. And then 3, their business is more comparable to Coinbase than any other of the crypto stocks out there. And so when we get that Coinbase IPO, it should be great for this stock, right? Coinbase right now is being priced somewhere around 50 times revenue, right? Literally 50 times revenue. It's going to be one of the hottest IPOs that we ever get. And Voyager here is trading at like 8 times, 10 times revenue. So I'll point this out too about the Voyager revenue growth. They went from 3.5 million in Q4 to literally 50 million in Q1. They actually had to put on a limit, right? They had to put on a waiting list on people opening new accounts because they couldn't keep up. That is now off. So this person's saying, okay, he is a Voyager app. It's okay. I'm curious. I want to hear what everybody else says about it. Yeah. See, and look at this. This is a waiting on the account, and I wonder if that has to do with the wait list, which they just recently took off. But all right, guys, dropping the link here in the chat. All right, to this Twitter thread. I did like a nice big deep dive on Voyager about a week ago when they gave us an update. I expect that we'll get another update from the company later this week. They've been like a PR machine. So go ahead, check that out if you're interested in the stock. But again, final conclusion. I see you guys are all bullish on crypto. Not everybody, but let's say 85% of the group is bullish on crypto. My takeaway is that if the stocks are holding up today and we're having a selling day on crypto, they should be poised to go higher once we get an uptake in Bitcoin / crypto prices in general. And again, guys, go ahead, smash that like button for us, to say hi in the chat, etc. All right, so I'm gonna keep us rolling. Let's knock down. Let's do this. All right, I'm gonna make an agenda for us. Let's hammer through some of these stocks, some of these tickers that you guys threw out in the chat. So we're gonna go through Palantir, PLTR. We're gonna go through Sundial, SNDL, and we're gonna do Genius Brands, GNUS. Those were the first three that I saw. And then I'm going to be bringing 2 options trades to you guys. So we're going to do an update on our Visa covered call that we did last week. I'm also going to make a trade, an options trade on FUBO, FUBO. And then we're going to get to the ETF stuff. So, all right, let's run down this ticker list. First one up, PLTR. I used to own this one in the live portfolio. I don't know if I still do. Let's see. PLTR. Let's see. Here. Let me zoom in for you guys. All right, this is the live portfolio, my live interactive brokers account. We look at this one every single day. PLTR. All right, so we still do have some Palantir, and we're actually up in the stock because we got into it by selling puts. So the price that we took the shares at was, then it would have been what, $28. But we sold the puts for $1.50, so we're pretty much about break even. And we'll do more on put selling later this week. But all right, let's pull up the chart of this thing on Palantir. Obviously, it got hammered for a little bit. Here, let's go even further back. All right, so we had this hammering. We now have a nice upward trend on it. The thing that I always advise is not to pick the bottoms, guys. Right, whenever you're yep. There we go. Coinbase is easy to use. But all right. The thing that I always recommend when we're looking at stocks is not picking bottoms, right? I blew up an account many years ago, basically buying stocks that were down. It would be like a stock is down 30%, 40%, 50%. I'm going to go ahead and buy that stock. It can't go any lower. Well, I found out that stocks can go lower even when you think that you're at a bottom. So I, as a rule, don't buy stocks when they're down. I wait for some sort of reversal of the trend. We clearly see that here in Palantir. So if you've been waiting for a sign to get bullish, you know, they are showing this nice upward momentum. The downward trend is broken, it looks like. You know, so I'm sort of neutral in this one. I own the shares outright. I'm going to continue to own the shares outright. Again, I sold puts against the stock, which makes me synthetically long it. I only do that with stocks that I'm okay holding for an extended period of time. Let's see when are we going to get their next earnings report. This is before 4:30 is when their next earnings is. Again, pulling this out of Benzinga Pro. So we have a little ways to go. But my thought is, hey, let's hang out. The trend looks nice. These candles are pretty. Let's see if we can get a march higher here. If you guys like Palantir, if you're long Palantir, throw the 1 in the chat. If not, throw the 2. I'm curious where everyone is at with this one. And then let's keep clipping to the next ticker. So, all right, next up on the list, SNDL, Sundial Growers, cannabis stock. And I believe that we actually got news out of this one today too. We did. Okay. All right. So all right, you guys all like Palantir as well. All right, well let's see where he's at with Sundial. All right, so Sundial, if you guys remember this one, this was a big Atlas stock. You know, basically the stock was sub $1 or somewhere right around $1, and the group said, hey, this thing's going to $2. They hit their price target. It did pull back quite a bit when we got all of that tech selling, right? Then we saw a lot of the a lot of these sort of high flying type stocks sell off, and I'm going to say this one too, and I'm going to throw this one out to the group as well. We're just getting Zinger Nation going today, okay? I'm warming up still for the week. We're going to get Zinger Nation warmed up for the week. So the question that I have for you guys is, how bullish or bearish are you on the general market? If you're bullish, hit a 1. If you're bearish, hit a 2. If you're like sort of in this wait and see mode, hit a 3. I'm personally in that wait and see mode. So the reason why I'm bringing this up with Sundial is because when we had that market volatility, the stock got absolutely hammered, just like a lot of other high flyers. It's now rebounded some over the past week or so. Somebody's saying OGI. All right, we'll look at that one. The stock has now rebounded some over the past week or so. Something that is really interesting is that the company did in fact actually have news today. Basically, what they're doing is they announced I think it's basically a joint venture with like a financial backer for the company to be able to set up some sort of like investment fund to invest in cannabis businesses. There was talk about a SPAC in there. Again, if you guys are in Benzinga Pro, you'll see the press releases there, 7:14. And it looks like we got a summary of it or the press release came out at 7. We have a summary at 7:14. So go ahead and check that out. But they do have news, and the news does seem interesting, right? If they're involved in this joint venture to help deploy some capital into the cannabis space, that is interesting. But because I'm like a 3 on the market right now, right? We said 1 is bullish. 2 is bearish. 3 is like you're sort of in this hangout, wait and see mode. I'm in this 3 hangout, wait and see mode. I'm not hopping on names like this right now. The only place where I'm putting new money are in higher quality stocks. And when I say higher quality stocks, it just means stocks that have some nice consistent cash flow. Maybe they pay a dividend. We're not looking for 200% revenue growth, right? Do I still have a lot of those stocks on in the portfolio? Yes, I do. Last week, I did make the portfolio more conservative. 2 weeks ago, I bought puts in SPY, and I'm leaving those puts on. So because I'm more conservative, I'm not hopping into stocks like this right now. I'm not going to be doing a whole ton of swing trading right now, and just scrolling through the answers from the group. It looks like most predominantly you guys are bullish on the market in general, and then number 2, you're sort of in this hangout, wait and see camp like I am. I'm in much more of a risk off. So that's where I'm at with the Palantir. And let's pull the third one out of the chat. GNUS, Genius Brands. So Genius Brand shares are up. The company's announcing a Roblox series will be aired on its Cartoon Channel network. All right. I don't know a whole ton about this thing. The chart looks decent, right? If you're technical, you want to see it take out this high, right? Here's a 1 month chart. We've got a high right there, 257. Not far from that at all. We do have news today, and it's sort of sexy news with the Roblox there, and the stock isn't really moving off of that. So I guess maybe it's a little bit of a wait and see there on Genius Brains. Whew. All right, there's the group, and I see Mr. Israel's here to hang out with us for our ETF segment. Let's throw him on the stream here. What's up, Spencer?
What's up, man?
All right, you want to do ETF?
I'm always down for that.
All right, hold on. Give me a second. Let me get some hydration. Okay, lubricate the vocal a little bit.
Here, I'll get my hand sanitizer.
All right, warm it up. All right, guys, it is time for Spencer Israel. He calls himself the ETF King. He is going to be critiquing my ETF portfolio. Spencer, I'm hearing an echo. I don't know if there's something that you can adjust on your end or change an audio.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. All right, he can just mute, and I'll mute when he talks. But all right, so guys, and just a little bit here, if you're just joining us, I'll give you a little preview as to what we have queued up for the day. So we're going to be doing 2 options trades. I got 2 options trades to check in on. One is a covered call. The other one is we're doing an options trade in Fubo, a live trade here right on the show. 12:30. Nick from Bull Trade Finders will be joining us to go over some swing trade ideas. We are going to be doing our chat challenge. So that's where we're going to be doing stock picking. We're running a nice little stock picking contest with the chat. And before we get to that, we're going to do an ETF portfolio lesson here with Spencer Israel. And guys, go ahead, smash that like button, share the stream. Let's get this thing going. First air horns of the day. All right, there we go. Now we're warmed up. But yeah, hit the like. And what brand of energy drinks does Luke drink? Mostly Bang. Today they were sold out at the gas station, so I got the Monster. But all right, Spencer, time for the ETF portfolio update. I've got a nice little Excel sheet here. Of course I do. I'm going to zoom in. All right, let's zoom her in. There we go. All right, guys. So it's time for some what I like to call mature market thoughts. We need to have like a nice little video intro for this, but we call it mature market thoughts. And basically what I mean by that is on this show we like to talk about a lot of high flyer tickers. We like to talk about swing trades that we're making, new investments that we're taking, a lot of individual stock picking, etc. right? That's sort of what excites me. That's what excites the chat, right? We just went through 3 tickers that you guys threw out. They were Palantir, Sundial, and Genius Brands. Of course, that means you like going through all these rippy stocks as well. But as I've mentioned many times in the past, 70% of my holdings are in a nice balanced ETF basket, right? We spend 90% of the time talking about the stocks because they're fun and they move more quickly, and we're rotating them in and out of the account more quickly. But 70% of the portfolio is an ETF basket. And basically the way that I approach it is, hey, the market returns on average, right? The total return, including dividends, is 12% a year. If I can get that with 70% of my portfolio, and then use that last 30% to get some outperformance and add several percent a year onto that, if I can replicate that year in, year out, then great. That's awesome. And I'll give you guys an example, right? Again, 70%. We see the most recent percent here, 68.5. We can add a decimal too. Oh, oops, there we go. Oh, HOI. There we go. 68.45% of the portfolio are ETFs, really big and boring. But we still are up about 18% for the year. Okay, so it's a strategy that can work. And so basically what I wanted to talk through is what I hold in my current basket of ETFs, and then I want to get Spencer's hot feedback on it. And whether or not it's diversified enough, if he thinks there's too much over concentration, etc. Somebody's asking, is there an ETF that consists of other ETFs? Not that I know of. Wait, Spencer, you're still muted.
I asked that question last week on the ETF show.
Okay.
Yeah, there used to be. I said I was looking up over the weekend and I kind of forgot. But yeah, there definitely was. Here, you know what? Check out like what about like, is FV still around? I think it is.
I've never heard of that ticker. Foxtrot Victor.
Or like, yeah. Here. QAI. No, don't do that. I take that back.
Okay.
Let's go with the first one. FV, which is, let me go back to my, all
right, I'm pulling it up on the screen. Focus 5 ETF here. Let's just, we don't have a description.
Yeah, it might be.
All right, what is it?
It's I'm going to go straight to the Dorsey Wright website, and if it's even still around, it is an index
trading.
You know what? It's provides exposure to sector and industry-based ETFs that Dorsey Wright believes offer the greatest potential for outperformance. So it is an ETF that does hold other ETFs, but it's not going to get you like exposure to the whole market. It literally holds 1, 2, 3. It holds 5 ETFs. It holds the a NASDAQ 100 ETF. It holds a NASDAQ Transports ETF. It holds a discretionary sector ETF, and it holds a industrials ETF and another technology one. So there. So there's your answer. FV is an ETF that consists of 5 ETFs.
Boom. Question answered. All right, Spencer, I'm going to dig into mine. Can you see it up on my screen here? I took the time to lay this all out. Right, I'll sort of walk through the sheet real quick. But we have the symbol, we have the geography it covers, what type of asset is, right? Is it stocks, bonds, commodities, etc.? Any other relevant details like is it hold small cap stocks, large cap stocks, etc.? How much of my portfolio I have the ETF weighted? Of just the ETF section, how much of a weighting is that? And then what's the 1 year total return? And by total return, we mean the price appreciation plus any dividends. So Spencer, first things first that I'll point out is we're pretty heavily weighted in US stocks, right? So we have 1, 2, 3. Let's go down. Let's add this one. So we have 4 ETFs that hold US stocks. So it's SPY, IWM, Triple Q, and OUSA. SPY, S&P 500 ETFs, that gives me access to the big large cap stocks. IWM, that gives me access to the small caps. Triple Q, there's a lot of overlap with SPY, but a little bit more weighted on the tech side of things. And then OUSA, smaller position, but still part of the U.S. large cap holding. So for first thing I want your opinion on, Spencer. 48% U.S. stocks that are held here, 35%, 36% are large caps, 12%, 12.5% small caps. Opinions on that?
So you said you're pretty overweight U.S. at 48%. I would argue that in a way that's actually underweight. U.S. has outperformed for the last 10, 12, 15 years. So you're saying you have 40% of your portfolio outside the U.S. Is that what you're saying?
So let's see. Of my ETF holdings, which make up about 70% of the total portfolor, 40%. Half of them are in the U.S., half aren't.
That's pretty diversified.
Or I'm sorry, of just the the ETF holdings is about 70% US, 30% outside of all holdings.
Okay,
about 50%.
I mean, I think that's fair. You know what I mean? I mean, U.S. has been the best market for really since the financial crisis. I think that's fair. That doesn't set off any alarm bells. I mean, you're not like going out on a limb, right?
Okay, all right. Then here's the next question. What about the allocation between large and small caps, right? So you can see here my weightings. IWM, that's an ETF which tracks the Russell 2000 index. That's the most widely followed small cap stock index. What do you think about that allocation? Keeping in mind that I have a long time horizon. For investing, I think that could be larger. If I were to make an adjustment, that would be the one to make.
This portfolio is very clearly reflected of the trends of the last decade, right? Your A's, you got a lot of US. B, you got a lot of large cap. So you got a lot of large cap US, right? And that's worked fantastically for you, right? And I'm sure as long as you've had this portfolio. If you go
5 years basically that I've had this allocation more or less.
So if you go back like over the last 90 years, 80 years, since the Great Depression, which is kind of when all modern market history kind of starts, small caps outperform, right? This is not news, right? Small caps outperform large caps over the long term. Obviously, that's not been the case in the last decade. It's been a story of large cap. It's been a story of tech. If you haven't owned large cap tech, you've had a bad time, right? You've had a bad time. So you've got one small cap fund. You've got the Russell, which is 12% of your overall portfolio.
Yep. Which 12% of whole portfolio is a decent allocation.
It's not nothing. It's 18% of your ETF holdings. It's not nothing. I would point your attention to. So I guess how do you feel now? Then over the last 6 months, the IWM is like crushing SPY. It's crushing, right?
I mean, and so is Triple Q. Up until let's say a month ago, it was.
Let me would have been thinking pro and get some numbers.
And pretty decent, to tell you the truth.
So here, I just went back to August arbitrarily. I just scrolled back. August. The Russell, the IWM is up 56%. SPY and Qs are basically even, right? So I'm wondering if you are considering maybe reallocating some of that large caps into, again, 6 months is not not a lot, but it's not nothing either, right? So I'm wondering if you maybe consider taking some of this large cap. You've got the Qs, you've got the SPY, and you got, I mean, OUSA is there for different reasons, but I'm almost wondering if you maybe would consider having a little bit more small cap exposure. Not the
right. So your first feedback is to increase the small cap exposure in the ETF portfolio.
It'd be something to think about for sure. Knowing that over the long term, not the last decade, the last 7 decades, small caps outperform.
All right. So there's the US piece. Let's stay with stocks and let's move out of the US.
Yeah, please.
So we have, let's see. We have 4 places where we're doing that here. And they're pretty underweighted. So as a whole, they represent 13% of the total portfolio. So that's not just of the ETF portfolio, that's of everything that I own. 13% are in ETFs that track stocks outside of the U.S. Biggest holding that we have, ticker EEM, Echo Echo Mike. That's an ETF that tracks emerging markets. Number 2, FXI, that's Foxtrot X-Ray India. That's an ETF that tracks Chinese large cap stocks. Number 3, AAXJ. That's an ETF that tracks Asian stocks, excluding China. So that's why we also have FXI in there to make sure that we have China exposure and we're overweight China versus the other regions. And then the last one in there, ticker VGK, is the one that tracks Europe. So a couple thoughts from me on this one really quick. Emerging markets are at like a 10-year high. So that's why I'm more heavily weighted in emerging markets. Let's see that momentum continue to run. Number 2, a decent sized China position I sort of view almost as a U.S. hedge, right? As we hear more and more about China becoming a global superpower, or I mean, it already is a global superpower, potentially overtaking the U.S. Economically and in terms of trade. That's a little bit of a hedge on my U.S. portfolio. And then I'll make a note too about the ticker VGK. That's the ETF that tracks European stocks. That one I'm underweight because the European market has been a dog for quite a while. We have Brexit. You've got infighting between the member states, etc. So Spencer, thoughts on, again, 13% of total holdings outside of the U.S. and then about that allocation within that.
I'll be honest, I didn't even notice VGK was on there until you just mentioned it.
It's a small chunk, okay?
Just skip right over it. Yeah, nothing you said there was wrong. So you're making a call here, right? Or 2 calls. First call you're making is your bullish China.
Yep.
Second call you're making,
that is absolutely true.
Second call you're making is your bearish Japan.
And the way that I'm getting bullish China is ticker FXI. And you said second call is bullish Europe.
No, bearish Japan is
or bearish Japan. Yeah. Underweighting the rest of the Asian countries. Yes.
I hadn't heard of the AAXJ before you just brought it up. I'm just curious why. What do you have against Japan?
Their economy has been. When did the Japanese stock market reach all-time highs?
In the 1980s.
It's never gotten back up to.
It was actually no. It did get back to. It reached it in the 80s, and it took 30 years. But I think they just got back there.
So that's why.
Yeah.
You have that. Plus, they tried the negative interest rates, which didn't really work for them. Plus, you've got China dominating more trade in the region. So that's for my commentary on. I'd rather be underweight Japan, overweight China if I had to pick between the two. I'm not saying politically that's how I'd want it done, but for the sake of my portfolio, and that's why we're spending this time together. That's why I choose to overweight China in the portfolio.
So to me. See, the thing is, though, like AXJ and the EEM are a little redundant in that way. I mean, the difference there is Japan or lack thereof.
Yep.
Maybe I don't know if AXJ would be like the best way to get to like undo that Japan exposure that EEM provides you. I don't know. If you really have a thing against Japan, then I don't know. I hadn't heard of the AXJ before just now. It looks interesting, but if you really wanted to undo that, maybe the solution is, you're going long. You're basically doubly long the rest of Asia. So you're basically magnifying your exposure to every other Asian economy that's not Japan.
Exactly.
Hey, again, like,
and again, the reason why let's pull it up. Is because they're ripping here. Let's go way out. So here's 5 years. Here's 10 years. Right? You can see the candle. They're breaking out. And what I'll say too, right, is that these weights change as we go through periods of over and underperformance. So check this out, Spencer. You'll notice too. Let's talk about the other stuff in the portfolio. So we just went through U.S. equities. Go ahead.
No, I was about to go on this. I wanted to stay on AXJ for a second. Because I just go into that one, it's 40% China. Okay, so it's 40% China. So you got a lot of China, man, a lot of China. I'm wondering if there's like a more equal weighted basket out there that's more equal weighted
for basically non-China U.S. exposure.
Yeah, I'm sure you could find one that is equal weighted. And the thing about equal weighting, what it does is it doesn't let any one allocation, whether it's market, whatever factor you're equal weighting for, doesn't let that dominate, right? So that could be also one way to play your bearishness over Japan, right? It would give you exposure, but it would mean that you're not going to live or die by Japan more than you would any other economy in the region. You've got 40% of AXJs in China, plus the FXI, plus what's EEM? How much of China is EEM? Let's find out. Let's find that out right now.
All right, and while you're pulling that up, I'm going to move us on to the other stuff, right? Because we've got a good collection of other stuff in here. We've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ETFs. The whole things that are not U.S. stocks, not international stocks, non-U.S. stocks.
is 1/3 China, right? It's pretty diversified, right? But still, China is the largest economy in there by a mile. So you got a lot of China. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But
China is it's a little bit my hedge on the rest of the portfolio.
For sure.
Which is a lot of U.S. stocks, both in the individual stock picking and the ETFs.
Sure.
But all right, we got to keep clipping, Spencer,
before
we bring our
go.
next guest on in a minute here. But all right, the other stuff in the portfolio, we've got 5 ETFs we've got 4 ETFs. I misclicked one. There it is. There we go. Sorry. So we've got 4 ETFs that represent the other stuff. So we've got 2 bond ETFs, VCLT and tickers LQD. These are both corporate bonds. We've got 1 investment grade. We've got 1 non-investment grade bonds in the U.S. They're both pretty small weights. And then we have 2 commodity ETFs in here. We have ticker USO and ticker DBC. So I'll walk through some of the thinking there. So the reason to have some sort of bond allocation, but not much, is that we do get a decent bit of a dividend out of it. I don't know. It's a little bit more conservative, gives us some other exposures. But again, I'm investing for a long time horizon. That's why I don't throw many bonds in there. And I keep the allocation lower. And then commodities. We do have commodity prices reflected through a lot of the stocks that we own. So that's why we don't have a whole ton of commodity exposure. The ones that we do have, we're pretty heavy on energy with USO. Plus, oil is also represented in ticker DBC, which holds a general commodity basket. So again, high level takeaways, guys. 50% of this portfolio is in U.S. stocks with a good chunk of that in large caps, but also a pretty decent chunk in U.S. small caps, and then 15% non-U.S. stocks, and then we've got a last little about 7% allocation that's in everything else.
Look, I also own some bonds, and I'm not really sure why. To be frank,
it's a small weight, and part of the reason why the weight is so small is because we've seen such an appreciation in stock prices over time, and we haven't seen. I mean, if we look over the past year, right, stocks have exploded. The S&P 500 is up like 73% over 12 months. I know it's coming off of some sort of a COVID low, but regardless, we've seen that happen with stocks. We have not seen that happen with the bond funds, and so of course the weightings on all the stock ETFs go up higher. But again, that's the ETF portfolio, and I want to throw this one out to the group as well. If this was helpful to go through, like, hey, here's how we set up our ETF portfolio to get exposure more or less to the rest of the world, and why. Drop the 1 in the chat. If this wasn't helpful, we want to go back to the YOLO Rippy stocks. Drop the 2 in the chat. And Spencer, while they're doing that, give us your little overview, your insight, how you manage your ETF portfolio, etc.
Wait, can I ask just one question for you? So
yes.
you own a little bit of OUSA. Why do you own that? Is it for the dividend, or is it for the large cap, or is it, I guess, a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, to tell you the truth.
Okay. Because, like we already said, you have a lot of large cap already, right?
We have a lot of large cap.
If you're going for the dividend, like OUSA is specifically if you want large caps with dividends, right? Large cap growths with dividends. If you're trying to get some income, there are other ETFs that have a higher yield than that. Something to consider if you want to maybe tone down your large cap exposure, because you've already got a lot of that. But this is, look, you've got US, you got global, you got stocks, you got bonds, commodities. I mean, you're pretty damn diversified. It's not really about that. It's really just about managing that. But this is more diversified than most.
Here we go. All right, and Spencer, quick take from the chat. It seems like it's about 50-50.
Okay.
It seems like about half the group thought that it was helpful to do the ETFs. and about half didn't. If you guys want that spreadsheet, we can email it out tonight. The email address is powerhour@benzinga.com. I'll go ahead. I will drop that in the chat for you. Gotta find my right tab. There we go. I'll drop that in the chat for you. Powerhour@benzinga.com if you want that spreadsheet. But again, we promised we'd do an ETF lesson last week. We didn't, and now we did.
Just want to say I've in my ETF show for an hour today, 2 to 3 o'clock. If you want more ETFs.
All right. So if you want more ETFs, so this segment that we just did, it was much more about here's how I set up an ETF portfolio. If you want a deeper dive into specific funds, 2 p.m. Eastern. Stay tuned. Spencer's gonna be bringing his ETF program to us. All right. All right. Thanks for joining, Spencer. All right, guys. So next up on the docket, we have a couple things to do here, guys. Again, powerhour@benzinga.com. Powerhour@benzinga.com. If you want that spreadsheet, send it over. But it is time. I'll cue everybody up again on the big agenda for the day. So, all right, we are going to do our chat challenge. We're going to have a video for that in just a second. But we're actually going to give the winner of last week's chat challenge. We ran out of time Friday, so we're going to give the winner of last week's chat challenge. Then we're going to have a new chat challenge for all you out there. It's where Zinger Nation is going ahead. We're competing. We're trying to pick the best performing stocks out there. So that's what we're going to do. I then have we've got 2 live options trades to check in on. So again, in the live interactive brokers account, we're going to look at the covered call trade that we did on Visa last week, ticker V, why we did that, how it's faring for us thus far. And then we're going to make a trade on Fubo, ticker FUBO. So we've got that ahead of us. Then we're going to be having some very special guests joining at 1 o'clock Eastern, and Mr. Raznick's going to be hopping onto the show as well. So, all right, guys, without further ado, let's roll it. I've got a nice little video here to play. Hold on. There it is. Zinger Nation is going head to head every single week. What is the best performing stock of the week going to be? All right, guys, it's time to wrap up last week's chat challenge. We asked all of you out there in Zinger Nation, that's all of you in the chat. We said, what is the best performing stock of the week going to be? Throw out the ticker, put it in here. Let's figure out who we can listen to, who can call out these top tickers, etc. Let's do a scroll down. Let's award the winner, and then we're going to open up a new spreadsheet. Everybody's going to hop in there. We're all going to put in our guesses and figure out who can pick the best stock this week, or maybe we'll do worst stock. But all right, I think we have our winner back there. Yep, we do. Winner of the week, Andre in the chat. He guessed AMC would be the best performing of the week. It was. He's up 51% on the pick. So everybody, round of applause for Andre out there. There we go. Round of applause. All right, we're all by ourselves. We need to warm up the fingers, get the trading fingers going, get a little bit of energy going into the day. So Andre with the pick AMC, Alpha Mike Charlie. He is the winner of last week's chat challenge. Andre, email that same email address, powerhour@benzinga.com. There it is. Tell us you won. We will hook you up with a prize, whatever you want. Swag.benzinga.com. Caesar is populating that store for us. Swag.benzinga.com. That is the place to email in to claim your prize. And guys, if you aren't Andre, don't worry. You have your opportunity now. Because it's time to do another chat challenge. All right, let's pull it up here on the screen. And again, I'm going to go through the rules. It's really simple. All you have to do is you have to open up this spreadsheet. I'm going to spam the link in the chat a couple times right now. I see we got a couple people on it so far. But all right, I'm going to spam it into the chat right now here. There you go. I just put in the link 5 different times. Click any of the links. And then go ahead and so write your name in column A here. You just got to put your name, right? Like I would put Luke. That's me. And then put in your stock. And this week, we are specifically asking what is the worst performing stock of the week going to be. Last week, we asked for the best performing. Andre, he picked AMC. That was the best performing stock of the week out of our group, out of Zinger Nation there. Now we're asking what is the worst performing stock going to be. And guys, if don't write over each other. Don't delete each other's guesses. It's a big trust system here. Just scroll down. right? We'll find you even if you drop your answer. Like, look at this. We've got Super Spac Man. He's typing his answer all the way down here at row 77. So even if you're that far down, don't worry, we'll find you. Just be courteous. Don't write over other people's guesses. All right. And again, we're asking what is the worst performing stock of the week going to be? See James here. He put the $sign. You don't need the $sign. You just type the ticker. So I'm gonna do this ITP for him here. Again, guys, I'm gonna put this link in the chat one more time. I'm gonna ask everybody to like the stream. The winner is getting a Benzinga track jacket. So if you're a track runner, or even if you're not a track runner, but you want the jacket, you want to show off to Zinger Nation that you can pick these crappy stocks, you can pick the biggest loser of the week, then go ahead, throw your name in here. We got 43 people on the spreadsheet right now. Fill it up. We want to get this all the way filled up. Keep dropping in the guesses. We're going to leave this open for another minute or two. And I'll say, as we're watching this get populated, we're seeing a lot of GME in here. A lot of GME haters. Oh shit! We even have a Ford. Dave put in Ford. What an asshole. We'll get back to that. I'm curious how many people put in GME. So count if the range that we're counting is here. If it has GME. All right. So far, 11 of you picked GME as the biggest loser. I see some AMCs in here as well. Now 12 GMEs. Let's see where the AMCs are at. 4 AMC people. All right. We'll see. We had a big group of people pick GME last week. I hope you were in the stock because it definitely did well. Let's look at that chart. GME, Golf, Mike, Echo. Here's the 5-day. All right. So we got some here. We need to go in further, right? We got some rip roaring in GME. It's sort of hanging out today, down 8%. That's not a horrible week with GME. But all right, guys, one more minute on it. One more minute. I'm going to play the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire theme. I'm going to get a sip of water, and then we're going to close the spreadsheet out. What's up, Jason? Nothing. Did you add him on?
I did it. Luke, it's okay, Luke. I confused Luke, guys. Can't hear Luke. Isn't Luke on mute? You guys, Luke, are you on mute?
I was muted. Okay, producer Rohan said he just muted me.
You don't know what the microphone mute button is? You just talked for like 4 minutes and it was mute.
Okay, well.
Oh, but I just came on because, guys, what I say about $250,000 live on the show of stocks on Friday.
Yep.
And are we up a lot today? Yes, we are.
There we go, baby.
Remember, I was live buying stocks.
Yes. So on Friday, guys, if you missed it, Jason was just taking tickers out of the chat, regardless of what ticker. A lot of reopening plays in there. Bought them all. Dropped $250,000 on the show, and you're making some money today?
Here, I'll show it.
All right, let's see it. Let's see it.
This is the way we can show it. Here we go. Whatever the people in the chat said, except one person was messing around. I didn't do that one. But I did everything you guys told me to do. And why am I not sharing? There it is. Okay. So let's make it bigger. Hold on, I'll make it bigger.
All right, 75 guesses in for the chat challenge this week.
All right. So they told me to buy. Someone said buy ALK, Alaska Airlines. Any airlines they told me to buy, I bought. And so for Alaska, I did the call option instead of the common stock. And so
We've got news out of airlines today too, which is good. Giving us a nice lift.
What was the news?
We had Southwest came out
Yeah.
and they said March and April passengers are going to be better than expected. So about they said about 80% of seats will be filled in April, which is a big uptick from where they had been. April of last year, 6% of seats were filled.
Got it. Okay, got it. So ALK up 1,500 on the call options today. Hall of Fame resorts. We had the CON up 1,250. TripAdvisor, which I never would have bought, up 1,100 already. Trivago, I never would have bought that if it wasn't for the chat. Up $900. And then look, AONE or Jets, never would have bought that one if it wasn't for the chat. I bought Mara, which wasn't a travel one.
Which
then
one?
You guys, Mara. That was
Mara. We did crypto stocks earlier, so I'll recap it really quick if you guys weren't around earlier. But basically, you have a day where Bitcoin is selling off. Crypto stocks are not only holding up but actually going up in price, and I think that's a really positive sign. If they can hold up when crypto sells off, the next time that we get in up day, they should be poised for more move higher.
So, and then like someone just said that one of them was theirs, but they didn't buy it. Well, I whatever you guys said. What did I say? Recharge headset. I'm gonna charge.
That's like Andre who won our chat challenge. He picked the best stock, but also did not get in it. Up 51%.
So then I bought Mesa Airlines. I bought Delta Airlines. GOL. I don't even know what GOL is, but it's
another airline, a non-US airline, I believe Brazilian.
GAN coming back. Voyager, nice. AZUL, another Brazilian airline. Save, I already owned, but I bought more, I think. I did. MOGO, no idea what that is. I bought six flags. I meant to buy Fun, FUN. I missed that one. I do have BCRX calls. Curaleaf, I already had. AQMS, I may have bought more of that. But that was what I did on a win. Win is still doing well. But you guys, I bought any stock you said. I spent $250,000 in a good 15 minutes. There's supposed to be a clip on YouTube of it, but they don't have that up. So, and I bought it in this account. This is one of the accounts. So that's what I did. It was all you guys tell me what to buy, and there you go. So now the question is, when do I sell some? I'm not ready to sell. XL. If I didn't buy XL, I don't know why. US Steel I bought too. Why isn't US Steel showing up here? Hold on. Let me see.
And we did clarify that when you bought it, you did put up the X, right?
Yeah, you asked me that.
Okay.
If I held an X in
Just wanted to make sure.
IHG's down. Wait, maybe X is down. Maybe X is down today. I thought I bought it. I bought more Leslie Pool Supplies today. Yeah, see, I got X.
Leslie's still a favorite of mine. Ticker LESL.
I just bought 200 more shares of Leslie's.
There we go.
Now I need to know: is Hugh coming on the show?
I don't think so.
Then why did I feel like I heard you say Hugh when I was on? Because you were going to tell me if I should get out of
Torchlight and Vissel.
Vissel, yeah, Vissel. Torchlight, I'm not really in. Vissel is what I'm in.
Yep.
My BTN, yeah. So, all right. So that's what I got. X, yeah. Why is X way down? What is XL, Luke? What is XL? I think
XL
Leslie,
fleet.
I think Leslie is a good buy now. To be honest, I think people are going to be spending money in their pool. I think, and there's new pools. I like.
Stimmy checks too. Come on now. I'm curious if you guys have gotten your stimulus checks already. Put the 1 in the chat. If you have it and you're expecting it, put a 2. I want to get a gauge as to how quickly they've gotten rolled out and how much more to expect.
Do you know how crazy this bailout is?
Yes.
Do you know the governments like Oakland County in Michigan? They don't have a budget shortfall. They're getting $279 million, and they don't know what to do with it. And so a government in Port Huron, because the city can choose, the state can't. The government in Port Huron is getting $24 million, and they don't know what to do with it because they don't need it. And so they might just refunds everyone's property taxes for the year. And like Oakland County, 279 million, don't know what to do with it. Detroit, 879 million.
Yeah, but Detroit will figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
Oakland County should give their payment to Detroit.
Watch the raises that you see internally. I mean, this thing. And then how about this? Lansing, Michigan, Luke? Lansing, Michigan got 50 million. Ann Arbor, Michigan got 11 million.
I think that's okay.
It doesn't make sense, but okay.
Sure, but Ann Arbor, Michigan is doing just fine.
So is Lansing.
But yeah, I hear you.
So, I mean, this bailout thing is so messed up. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
You know?
Look at this chat message I just pulled up. Oakland County will somehow find a way to raise taxes, and if you guys are not Michiganders like us, Oakland County, it's a northern suburb of Detroit.
By the way, this is probably in every state. So, one thing you guys could think about for a stock plays on this, governments are going to find ways to spend money. So I did some work this week. I'm like, okay, could Benzinga provide governments money? I mean, not money, tools, because they have all the money in the world to spend right now. It's like if one of our clients, let's say one of our clients, I don't know, Robinhood just got, well, I guess they did, but one of our clients got $250 million and they need to figure out how to spend it. So how can Benzinga serve Oakland County government? I don't know. But think about the vendors.
Roads.
Yes, the roads is one.
We'll get into road building.
Yes.
If we win the contract, we'll figure it out.
Oh, we're going to get into road building.
Yes, exactly. We might need help from Zinger Nation, but if we get the contract, we'll team up, guys. We'll split the money and we'll figure out how to build roads.
Yeah, I mean, we need to start get our fund going. That guy we're talking to today, because they have money to spend. The other thing is cutting down trees. They need tree trimming for wires. They need roads, but that's where you can buy Caterpillar. So Caterpillar stock will eventually go up because more road building will happen. I mean, the amount of money going to these cities, like Oakland County, they don't know what to do with the money. Do you know how much of an uproar there would have been if this was in the last administration? It's actually kind of funny. I have to be honest.
Yep.
Steel's probably goodbye.
X. Ticker X. There you go.
Yeah, Ticker X.
US Steel. Okay, so your US Steel here, I'm going to pull this up on my Benzinga Pro here. Again, pro.benzinga.com, 2 weeks free, no reason not to try it. But Benzinga Pro here, the stock is down after Argus Research downgraded it. That's what happened. It went from a buy to a hold. It's not horrible.
It's not my fault Argus got it wrong.
Yep. And it looks like they actually put out some guidance too. So let's look at this.
Okay, but we can talk about other things. Luke, we can talk about other things. So there's this printing money, $5 trillion. So that devalues the dollar. Maybe that makes Bitcoin of higher value. I'm keeping my travel stocks, Luke, because I think people will start booking a lot more once they see the money in their account. That's why I'm keeping it.
Yep. And let me ask you this: do you have an opinion on any particular airline? Or do you just like the group as a whole?
I like Save. I like Delta. I like Southwest. I don't know the rest, but I bought whatever the group told me. So
yeah. So you see, Save again. That Spirit Airlines. The ticker is SAVE. Save.
Yep.
See, that one I think is especially compelling because recreational travel I would expect to come back a lot more quickly than business travel. And if we take like the example of Jason and I, right, traveling for Benzinga, we used to travel twice a month. If we're looking 2019 and before, it only makes sense for us to travel again if office buildings in Manhattan are full, right? And we can go and meet with 5 or 6 different partners in the course of a day. And I imagine that's going to be a long time before those buildings fill back up, if they ever do. We hear so many people telling us, hey, it's permanently work from home, etc. So I think Save is most interesting of that group.
Exactly. It's your fun travel airline. I agree with you. But Luke, we have a special guest here. Let me get my thing. All right, Aaron Bree. Producer Aaron. All right, Aaron Bree has been excited to come on all weekend. He has a stock that he's been researching. And take your time, Aaron. But I wouldn't just lay out the symbol first. I would go with more the structural why you came to the stock idea. So go ahead and take your time. We'll let you.
Do you want me to give you the stock that I've been pitching that All right, I'll go ahead
Dude,
and do that.
I'm just talking about this. What do you mean? You said this weekend you've been researching hardcore on that stock. Me and Luke will step off. Go ahead, take it away. Okay, go ahead.
All right, I might need Luke to pull it up for me on Benzinga Pro. This is actually a one for my buddy. So this stock, I like it both as a we've seen this recent outflow of money from growth stocks into value stocks. I like this as a value play. So the ticker is CXW. Company is called Core Civic. I don't love their business model. They run private prisons. Don't love it as far as what they actually do. However, if you look at the financials and the balance sheet, this stock should be probably, I'd say around the $15 mark as opposed to the $9 mark. I'm in this, full disclosure, I have open calls, and this stock's been ripping today. I think it's up 7% today. So, yeah, I like it. What do you think, Luke?
Wait, is this a prison stock or no?
Yeah, it's a private prison company. So, like I said, I don't love what they do, but basically the thesis behind it is the stock has been getting killed the past year and a half because people have speculated that if Biden gets elected or we see Democrats come in, that private prisons won't be making money. However, Biden's administration has basically already said they don't really plan on doing anything in this sector. And Core Civic, the company, actually in recent earnings said the same thing, that with the new administration, they don't expect anything to really change. So,
all right. So 2 thoughts here. First one, Aaron, is that the stream is saying that we don't have enough likes for you to eat lunch. Let's see.
I know I'm kind of upset about that. I'm a little
108.
hungry.
Yep, that's not enough likes for you to go to lunch. We need to be at least 150, and then you can have a lunch break. 2, before you pitch the stock, did you see the news on Geo? Their publicly traded peer this morning.
Really? No, I did not see news, so I'm be curious about that. Oh, that doesn't look like they don't have the same bump that CXW
well here's the 1-year chart. Stock's holding up okay today. We have a problem though, which is that Geo lost a contract. So Geo, it's another one of these publicly traded prison stocks. That they were running a prison for the U.S. Marshal Service. The U.S. Marshal Service came out and said, we are not going to be renewing this contract with you. We don't have insight as to why, because we've only heard the Geo side of the story thus far. But the concern that comes up is that, are they speculating, or does this lead to speculation that, hey, government agencies have gotten a nod from the Biden administration that, hey, we want to cut down on use of these private prisons, and this is the first one to go. Again, stock is holding up okay this morning. It sold off pretty nicely in the early hours of the day. Right, look at when the news dropped, we had this big red bar down here. It's now come back and is green on the day. But I don't know. Does that news concern you at all?
Well, for me, I'm kind of a serial optimist, and like I said, I have open positions on CXW. So my thought is maybe the reason Geo didn't get that contract is because they're awarding it to CXW.
All right, that is a possibility, and
I'm not saying it's probable, but
if the stock pick doesn't get you likes, the serial optimist term at least should. You're moving closer to that 150 number that you're looking for.
All right, that's beautiful. Maybe we also do have our actual special guest coming up when we play our graphic, and let's bring them on.
All right. Hey, Adi, what's going on, man? Welcome to the Power Hour.
Adi, we got you on mute.
Hey guys, how's it going? Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yes, sir. How we doing?
Yeah, we're doing great. How about you guys?
Doing well. It's Monday. Nice high energy day. We're market's holding up okay. What's up with you?
Yeah, nothing much. I'm based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we just started getting some warm weather right outside of -30 temps about 2 weeks ago. So enjoying the weather.
Okay, there you go. You see, we had some nice days in Michigan. It was 22 degrees when I drove in this morning. So it was cold here in Michigan, but it's turning around.
Yeah, that definitely. Like all the warm weather from California to New York, it's amazing.
So you run a finance, you run an investing TikTok, you have 1 million followers on it. What inspired you to get started? What motivated you to say, hey, this is something that I want to go do?
Yeah, honestly, when I was in high school in ninth grade, the grade got together and started a market watch competition where we all try to invest in stocks. And so
Yep.
I got utterly obsessed with it. It was all I was doing all day. Didn't pay attention in school anymore. All I was doing was stocks. And so since then, I've gotten a little bit more understanding of where I stand in stocks and how I invest. But that's where I started.
Okay. And do you have a favorite ticker right now? This
Right
is a
now,
stock idea show, so I always like to ask. You don't have to have one. We didn't prepare you, but if you do, we want to hear about it.
honestly, and this is going to go all, I know it's going to sound boring, but my favorite is just going to be ARK. That's what I tell all of my followers is to diversify, and ARK, SPY, get those ETFs going.
Okay, there we go. We did a nice little ETF segment earlier today, and you like ARK, the Kathy Fund. You know, we actually interviewed her on this channel last week.
I had no idea actually.
Yep, it was pretty awesome. So
We'll be checking that out.
all right, so with the TikTok content that you post, I'm curious because I imagine that a lot of it is like seen by Gen Z or that's what the typical consumer is. Is there anything in particular which they seem to latch onto? Like what does best, what's most interesting to them, etc.
Yeah, I would say that the most interesting thing to them is the things that they don't know at all. And honestly, things like credit end up coming up being the most popular topic, but certainly some of the more flashier things recently has been NFT and cryptocurrency. Beeple's every day is sold for 69 million. And that's digital art. And so that's been like a big one recently.
Okay, so you've got like the personal finance stuff, you have the NFT, the crypto stuff. What about stock market? Is that appealing to that audience yet, or is it again more of that personal finance or the crypto markets?
I think that it's always been really popular among my audience. What I would say is that my audience typically younger, and then typically people who are in school and they might not be full-time into stocks, or they might not have the confidence to get into stocks. And so we like to start them out easy by putting them into those ETF baskets and getting started with just being consistent and setting aside money to invest. So we focus on really getting people to change from choosing to spend their money to choosing to invest in it. And then from there, we don't want to complicate it too much as of now. And so we just send them into those ETFs, and they're pretty excited about that. We constantly get comments about people who are super excited over the past year, especially with all the stimulus packages. So people are pretty excited.
Okay. And then what about brokerages? Is it still that Robinhood is the one that most folks seem to be choosing? Or is there a shift in some of the other brokerages that they're choosing to get their investments started in? I mean, I own a lot of those brokerage stocks, so for personal reasons, I want to know.
Yeah, so I would say that the biggest one recently, of course, after the GME and AMC, that Robinhood has sort of fallen off the top list of brokerages that my followers have been signing up for. I would say that Public has been up and coming. It's sort of like the Twitter of investing, that brokerage has been actually been really attracted to our followers. They're on TikTok already. They're excited to see what other people think about stocks in a stock specific platform where they can, listen and follow to the experts. And so that's been the popular one.
Okay. And then I've got one more question. I want to go back to this Market Watch competition, because I think that everybody that's how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 17.
You're 17. Okay. So then I'm going to guess everybody that's my age and below got started with one of those Market Watch competitions. At least I did when I was in high school. So we'll go back to that in a second here. But after people get started with ETFs, I imagine that they get into individual stocks relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Is that something that's fair or true?
Yeah, I would say that there's like a split. There's either people who are satisfied with where they are and they continue just doing that consistent investing, and then they get those dividends and they just do that reinvestment plans. But yes, there's a lot of people who get so excited, watching those ticker symbols every single day, just watching the stock market and going up and down. It's addicting, and so people really get hooked really fast and they go to individual stocks.
All right. So going back to this Market Watch competition, first things first, did you win?
I did.
Okay, congratulations. Do you know which stock led to the most outperformance, or was there a couple of them that did it?
Oh, it was actually really weird.
Tesla.
This was a couple of years ago. So it ended up being Costco that took the lead. I was down early in the game with retail, but at the end it picked up. And yeah, that's what really took me to victory there.
All right. So you're 17. You got into the market early, right? Seems like first interest was somewhere 12, 13 years old. What got you into the market in the first place? How do you figure out what to buy? Like, what do you use for your research? And then any companies that are especially exciting to you, like especially something that like people in the next generation may not be thinking about.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say that to answer the first part of your question, that when I first look at a stock, one of the books that really inspired me was just Warren Buffett and the Interpretation of Financial Statements, written by Warren Buffett's daughter-in-law, I believe. That book talks about durable competitive advantage and how important it is to have that. You're building the moat around yourself, and then you're putting down the toll bridge. And so as far as you can widen that moat as possible to create that competitive advantage that's long term, that's the key thing that I'm looking for. If a company can prove that, and usually I look through their investor relations to determine if they're a good fit for me and a good fit for my risk tolerance, which is super important in investing. I don't personally like the super volatile stocks. I'd rather just not check the market every single day, but stay consistent with my investing.
All right, wait. We're gonna stop you guys. 17 years old, already reading investing books. Round of applause there. Come on. It's Monday. We need to warm up the fingers. Let's get the hands clapping. Get the trading fingers warmed up. All right, so keep going. The next questions were like where you go to look for stock ideas, how you research them, and then also anything you're especially excited about that the next generation is probably not thinking about.
Yeah, so I would say that my biggest source for just getting in the first point of contact with stocks is literally everything. I try to consume as much information as I can. So even if it's through social media, even if it's accounts that maybe I don't trust necessarily or aren't the most credible, I'll still take in that information and then do my own due diligence from there. So I'm really pulling from everywhere, every industry, every sector, and then doing my own analysis. Once I get that, I try to, don't trust the brick maker about jewels, and do my own research behind the scenes. And then the stock that I'm looking at right now is PNGY, which is Progeny. And they do maternity and paternity benefits, and they are one of the they control a large share of the market in terms of these benefits, in terms of these healthcare benefits, and they have some of the biggest names as their clients, and they really have that control over. And I don't think people are going to stop having babies anytime soon. So that's my long-term pick.
All right, there we go. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. Not going to stop having babies. If people do stop having babies, we're all screwed. In terms of our portfolios. so
the stock is
PROG, right?
PGNY.
PGNY. Okay, hold on. PGNY. Oh, there we go. Okay, Progeny. There it is. All right, dropping it in the chat. Does that look right?
Yep, that's exactly it.
All right. And how do you research a stock like this? Are you looking at their filings? Are you looking at the conference call transcripts? What exactly goes into it? What are you comparing it to, et cetera?
Yeah. So when I was first looking at this stock, I was introduced to it by Austin Hankwitz, who's also on TikTok. He's a great content creator. But I was talking with Austin about this stock, and like I said about that durable competitive advantage, I look at the charts, I look at the filings, but I don't. And I'm not going to say I don't care, but I don't prioritize as much what that stock is going to be doing in the coming year. Like I said, that durable competitive advantage, I think Progeny has sort of established themselves, as the biggest player in the game. And they've offered a really effective solution for these companies. And it's, no hassle. Sometimes when insurance and healthcare gets really complicated, especially as a content creator in this space, I try to teach these things as simple as possible, but sometimes these concepts can only be understood through experience. And so when Progeny comes in and establishes a very clear solution for maternity and paternity, that's that sort of that moat that's being built and that toll bridge being put across.
All right, there it is, guys. Pick, we have it. PGNY, Papa Golf November Yankee. Not a stock we've talked about on the show before, so we're gonna do an air horn for that one. There it is. All right, and like 1 million followers on TikTok. That's significant. Do they have a monetization mechanism built into that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so TikTok has a couple of different things. They have the creator fund, which is for anyone. It's basically like their YouTube ad revenue. It's TikTok's ad revenue. TikTok has its own programs, like the learning program, which if you create educational content, that they will sponsor your videos and pay you to create more. And then of course there's like sponsors, and there's our own assets that we try to sell.
Okay. All right. Oh, definitely interesting. Definitely something we could do with Benzinga as well in there. So awesome, man. All right. Any final words of wisdom for us? Or where are you going to college next year?
No, I'm not.
All right. You're doing the entrepreneurial investing route?
Entrepreneurial investing route, and the education is just from talking with people like you, Luke.
There we go. Second round of applause. Let's go. Warm up those fingers, guys. I love it. Cool. All right, man. Well, let's stay in touch. We want to hear on the progress of the channel. We want to hear on the progress of the stock. Whenever you have new stock ideas, come back, because we always like pitches and ideas.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Luke. It's great. All
right. Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
All right. How about that, guys? Pretty damn impressive. We're 17 years old. Not just like investing in, your Roblox, or here's my Apple pick, right? Like actually finding stocks that we as a group have not talked about. Again, guys, the ticker PGNY, Papa Golf November Yankee. And all right, I'm going to do a little bit of a preview for what we have coming up today. I know that I promised you guys 2 options trades today, but we ran out of time. But don't worry, I'll be back. So we got a handful of interesting things later on our schedule today. So I'm going to be running a new show today at 6 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll be back with Flex Trades, aka Matt Grebin, 6 p.m. Eastern. Be there, be square. We'll go through both the options trades then. And then at 7 o'clock Eastern with the Ruel Report, I'll also be hanging out with you guys. We're going to be talking more NFTs, crypto, how to trade those markets, how to understand those markets. So if NFT is a black box for you, if crypto is a black box for you, don't worry. I just threw my pen. Don't worry. Stay tuned. We will get to that. So again, guys, 6 o'clock Eastern, we're going to be doing some options trades. We're going to have Flex Trade Matt back with us. 7 o'clock Eastern, we're going to be talking crypto, NFTs. And so we have a jam-packed day. And at now o'clock Eastern, I'm going to throw him back on the stream here in just a second. We have Mr. Raznick.
Aren't you going to be tired?
Yes.
Weren't you out of town this weekend and stuff?
Yes.
So where'd you go?
I went to Petoskey, Michigan. It's like if this is Michigan, right? It's a little thumb. There you go, all the way up there towards the top. I got some reading in. I got some napping in. So
did you go skiing?
Nope. It's too intimidating. I like to be on my own 2 feet. Skiing sort of freaks me out.
So what do you do when you're in Petoskey?
Read a lot, basically.
Just with your dad, he read and you read next to each other?
Yep.
It's so cute, right?
I know. We sat on like this nice heated patio and we looked out at Lake Michigan and read our books.
What book did you read?
Right?
What book did you read?
I finished. Okay, so 2. I finished this book, Anton Chekhov, his complete short story collection. Sort of a cool introduction to Russian literature. I had not read that before. And then I started this next book called I, Claudius. And it's about an old Russian emperor. Well, I guess all Russian emperors are old. But basically it's a fake autobiography by him. Very interesting.
And you liked it?
I liked it.
How was the drive?
I liked it. The drive was okay. It wasn't bad. There no traffic. 3-4 hours. I mean, I hate driving for that long, but I did it.
Why didn't you take your helicopter?
We could have taken the helicopter. The plane was out. It was in the shop, so we ended up driving.
That's fair. So the guy did the Progeny was interesting stock. It was pretty fun buying all those stocks on Friday. I can't believe I haven't sold some. I'm a little upset though. I think I missed JetBlue. I didn't buy JetBlue or United Airlines. Someone said UAL that I missed that, but I don't think anyone told me that. If I go back to my history, I don't think that UAL was on the list. Hey, and then do you guys talking to Luke like he's a little kid? Yeah, Luke's my nephew. I can't talk. He's my nephew, tetrahedron IX. But what I was gonna say to you guys is FDA calendars. I don't know if you guys ever look up FDA calendars, PDUFA dates, when things are going to be released. I think we're finally releasing that on Tuesday. So St. Patrick's Day, we're releasing an FDA calendar, and I think you guys will enjoy it. And ideally, you guys will own it. Tell us what we need to make better. We are all a team, so we need you guys to tell us what we can do to make this stuff better. So yeah, and then you guys are talking about a short squeeze on CLOV. Bree, can you share your screen and put CLOV up? CLOV up. It was,
yes, sir. Give me 1 second.
I'm not in Clover, guys. I know you guys wanted me in there for a while. I'm not in. I've been to Clover's headquarters. I liked how they were scrappy and stuff, but I got in for a New York minute, and then I just went back to how I felt that I should do. So
wait, are we pulling up Clover or CCIV? You said
no, CLOV.
Oh, CLOV. Clover.
Yeah, I never said CCIV. Sorry. This guy really wants us to talk about it, so he says there could be a short squeeze. So let's pull it up. I'm not saying CLOV is bad, guys. Chamath is great, and he knows what he's doing, so I'm not saying it's bad, just so you guys know.
I like short squeezes. We've seen what can happen with those.
Oh, I used to be the writer of short squeezes. Look at that. Okay, we're up 0.6. Okay, I'm going to get the daily short interest on that. Let me double check. Okay, so that's the chart. That's Clover.
One thing that scares me with this is I'm pretty sure Chamath sold all his shares, and he was like the biggest cheerleader for Clover and the one that led this back deal.
I don't think he sold all his shares unless that happened today. Why are you saying that?
Hugh and Dan on their podcast said that Chamath got out of it last week. I'm not sure. I didn't verify that myself.
If we did, it would be in the news below. Scroll below. Do you know what Aaron Bree is saying? Chamath got out of the
yeah, I'm sure we'll know in the comments if that's right or not.
He got out of
I'm looking at the news.
He got out of Virgin Atlantic. I never heard he got out of Clover. Are you spreading fake news? I mean,
maybe
come on. He sold space. Why are you saying that?
Okay, then maybe that's what. Okay, you're right. I was confused.
Oh my gosh! You could just could cause a sell-off, man. Get out of Virgin. Okay, guys.
Okay, that's right. They were talking about how he sold that and speculating if he was going to sell Clover then too.
Oh my god! Wow. What if you would have caused the sell-off on that? You know?
Well, yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah.
But what caused Clover to go down from? All right, I'll pull up the 3-month. It was all the way up here at like $18 a couple months ago. And now it's all the way down at $9.
Because they had some numbers, people didn't love them. There's a lot of speculation that this is going to redo medical care in terms of costs, and they're using data science, and it didn't play out in the quarter. So remember, these things aren't quarterly plays. No lunch. Yeah, he didn't get to. No lunch for Aaron. Yeah, I hear you.
No, we got to 150, but I'm gonna wait till after the show's over to take my lunch.
No, you can't have lunch now because
I messed up.
Yeah, I mean, look what you caused. And you were like confident, like, yeah, they said it on the podcast. I'm like,
you're right. Egg on my face. Should I go grab an egg?
You made it sound even more believable by saying they said it on the podcast.
You're completely right. Yeah, it was Spice. They were talking about space. He was talking about him selling and not. But yeah, they started speculating about the if he was going to hold his Clover shares, or that actually what they said was if Chamath thought that Clover was like not a good company, then he would have sold like he did Space. So they were actually bullish on Clover for that reason, that he sold one but not this one, that he's holding on to this one. But what's like the long-term bull case for the company, that they're going to be the Clover app is going to be an app that everyone uses for healthcare?
No, something with, I don't know the whole story. We should get a Clover Bowl to come on. We should definitely do that. Yeah, we should get a Clover Bowl. Let me show what I'm looking at on my screens here.
Okay, I'll pull up.
Keep up your screen. Keep up your screen. It's okay. People make mistakes, Aaron. No big deal. All right. So I'm glad we corrected it right away. So
I'm glad too. I would hate to put out fake news out there. That's not what we do.
Vintage. I agree. I'm putting Vintage's comment in the thing. I know what the heck was that, Matt? What was that? I wasn't even. Oh my God, where's vintage? Vintage. Oh, all the way there. A lot of comments coming in. Okay, that's what I was trying to show. All right, so ALK guys, about Alaska Airlines, it's up 24%. The options. I don't believe I bought UAL or UAL or JetBlue, but I would have thought I bought JetBlue.
What's been the best performing airline stock out of all those that you buy? I saw Southwest today was up a bunch.
I mean, no one told me to buy UAL. I don't know why, but it's okay. At the end of the day, it's my fault.
What airline do you like flying the most?
Flying the most is definitely not necessarily like what stock goes up the most. You know what I mean?
No, I'm just curious. What airline do you use when you fly?
Delta.
Delta. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm a Southwest guy.
Well, it's a hub in Michigan, and so which people think, oh, that's a great thing. You can fly everywhere, but really it creates a monopoly in Michigan. So I could fly. One time I had to go to LA. To fly to LA from Michigan was $1,200. The same flight, if I just took it from Chicago, was $400. The flight went from Detroit to Chicago to LA. If I would have driven to Chicago, it was $400 versus LA $1,200 versus Detroit $1,200. They have a monopoly here, so they have no competition. But that's just what it is. When I move to Puerto Rico, it'll be a little bit different, you know?
Got it. Yeah. I think actually Southwest used to have a hub in St. Louis where I'm at, but they're not. The hub's not there anymore. But I just like Southwest. It's so easy being able to change your flight at any time. You get a free bag. I don't know.
I could do that with Delta. I'm a Delta Diamond, so I get access to all that beautiful
And do you
stuff.
have a Delta credit card then that you're getting like rewards and stuff on too, or no?
Yeah, that's how I got to be a Delta Diamond.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to buy some UAL call options. Hopefully, it continues the rally tomorrow. What else do you guys want me to buy? I mean, the best are Alaska, Delta, and Southwest. I bought UAL. All right, so now what is the next one? Southwest. I don't know. That's symbol love. Okay, so I'll go to love. Yep, I just
got pulled up right here on the.
I got executed on my UALs about some April 70s. That's too much, too quick. That's going to not be worth the. I thought I bought end of April, about April 1st. Shoot, that's not good. April Fool's Day. It's really going to fool me. All right, so I'm gonna have to buy some love. I'm gonna have to buy some love, but I'm gonna have to do a lot longer date. I'm gonna buy some options for October in love.
What are you gonna do? Like a $70 strike price, 75?
Well, I should share the screen. Let me get them to share the screen before I bring the guest on. Hold on. Yeah, and Boeing. I know people like Boeing too. So, okay. So where is that? All right, there we go. Sharing the screen. Here we go.
The one thing I like about Boeing right now compared to a lot of these other airline stocks is Boeing is still trading way below its pre-COVID levels. Southwest has now surpassed what it was trading at pre-COVID.
What was Boeing's pre-COVID levels?
Let's look on Benzinga Pro real quick. BA is the ticker. Let's go back to 2-year. So can you see this on the screen right now?
Me?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, you're showing yours. Here, I'll add mine.
I'm showing mine. I'm making a trade.
I'm showing mine the graph of Boeing real quick. So on February 2020, on February 9th of 2020, right before the market crash from COVID, it was sitting at $344. So $344, and right now it's only at $267. Yeah, so it's still got another $80 to get back to its pre-COVID levels, whereas Southwest and American Airlines, some of these others are already surpassing their pre-COVID price levels.
Interesting.
Which, I mean, obviously a lot has gone into Boeing with some of the problems they've had with their planes, but as Spencer was talking about last week, it's there's only two companies, Airbus and Boeing, so Boeing's not going anywhere.
No, that's true. I get so mad about Boeing because you could have had it at $100. You know.
You're saying right when it crashed from COVID?
Yeah, I mean there was plenty of days that Donald Trump would be out there and saying this Boeing thing's way undervalued. You know, he was all about Boeing.
Yeah. I mean, there were a million stocks right when that crash happened. That looking back on it now, I mean, like Disney dropped all the way to like $80, and like we all know Disney's not going anywhere. So
Yeah, Disney, I hear you. The other one, AMC came back today, by the way. I've owned AMC. I don't know if I still have it in my account. AMC, I think it's at 12, and that's
Pull that one up real
a
quick.
lot of debt. 14. Wow. Holy moly. And I think
Yeah,
I've,
I'm pulled up the 5-day chart of AMC.
oh my
Looking at this
God.
on last Thursday was at 12, or it was at 10.22, and now it's at 4. I mean, that's over 40% in like 2
What
market
the
days.
heck? How did I not see? I owned a bunch of AMC too. Jesus. Okay. So I think I think you have a guest, Ryan. Aaron, I'll let you take it away, play the music, and
Yes,
make
sir.
it happen, Aaron.
How we doing, Jolly Green Investor?
How's it going? My name's Shane.
Shane, how we doing? I'm Aaron. Nice to meet you.
Good, Aaron. How's it going?
Good. It's a nice little, it's kind of festive. We're bringing you on this week with St. Patrick's Day, huh?
Yeah, perfect. Works perfectly.
Can you tell us what's the background with that name, Jolly Green Investor?
So I've been an investor for about 5 years now, and honestly, I watched the new David Attenborough documentary that came out like a year ago, and I just realized that the future is green, sustainable technology. All the cities are going to be using everything like that, and I figured, why not build a brand or a personality around sharing investment ideas that relate only to things like electric vehicles, green energy, fintech, all that kind of stuff. So started a Twitter account for it in November, and it kind of took off. And then I started making TikTok videos like 2 months ago, and the audience have really been loving it. So it's kind of blowing up.
Awesome. I just threw your Twitter link in the chat. Give it a second to load in there. So if people want to go check out your Twitter, that'll be there.
Perfect.
So you said you've been trading for about 5 years now?
Yeah, off pretty passively for the first couple of years. Been getting into it quite a bit over the past 3 years. And yeah, now it's kind of taken on this whole life of its own with this new Jolly Green Investor thing.
So you're doing that like full time now, Jolly Green investing, and then running the social accounts?
So no, I run a couple of other businesses. So I'm an entrepreneur on my main job as well. So I've started a few online businesses that I've been running for about 7 years. But the trading is definitely becoming much more a part of my life now that I have, the social media stuff. Once you actually get a bit of a following, and I have to making a couple of TikTok videos every day, it's kind of like a full-time job doing this, and then also coming up with ideas to share with people and stuff. So yeah, it's taking up a lot of my time, but honestly, I love it.
Got it. I see a question in the comments. I just have to ask because I saw it. Someone wanted me to ask have you blown up an account before?
No, this is like the first time that I've ever had a social media go like.
No, like blown up an investing account, like a portfolio.
Oh no.
Okay, well that's good. We have a running joke on the show that you got to do it at one point.
Okay. All right. Well,
maybe you don't have to. We'll try to stay away from that.
Yeah.
So I have a list of the things that you like to invest in between EV, so electric vehicles, green energy, cannabis, psychedelic medicine, fintech. That kind of. Does the fintech that you like? Is it related just to work from home fintech or just all sort of fintech?
I mean, yeah, work from home is a kind of an industry that I'm passionate about because I have been working from home before it was cool. Like I've been doing it for 7 years now. So now that with the rise of it, I really love all that technology. But the fintech, anything in fintech space, I'm super passionate about, whether it be crypto or peer-to-peer payments platforms or anything like that. I think fintech is something that I think people are still underrating in terms of how much change it's going to have in the world. So all these new platforms that are coming out and the things that we can invest in now, I think are a really big deal.
Yeah. So one thing I'm curious about is just between all these different sectors, between EVs, green energy, cannabis, that have obviously had kind of like some big run-ups within the past year. Is that something that scares you at all, or the fact that like some of these sectors are up 100% or whatever over the past 12 months?
Definitely. I mean, all this stuff is definitely has seen the hype train go after it quite a bit over the past year or two with different things. So I think you kind of have to separate, price to earnings ratios and valuations a little bit sometimes with these things because the hype is just a little bit crazy. But I think there's opportunities, when you see a stock run up goes 3x over like a few months and then it dips down and you really like that company, then that's your opportunity to get in because the hype train will go back. So for example, we saw the psychedelics industry go crazy like maybe 3 months ago. And companies that I really love, like MindMed and stuff, they went, I don't know, 5 to 10x in a matter of a month. And now they've kind of come down quite a bit. But even though the fundamentals of the company haven't changed, I think the hype train will get rolling again. So you just have to be ready to time that kind of thing with those sectors.
Got it. So you're basically saying more with like the stocks that you like, even though they've had a run up, you're just kind of like watching them, waiting for some dips and then adding back in some more.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, you're right. You do have to be skeptical of certain industries, especially, with EVs and all the new SPACs, companies that have zero revenue trading at 10 billion market valuations. Something like CCIV can happen at any time where it just goes crash. But the market right now is, a lot of it's based around, for better or for worse, is based around hype. And I'm not necessarily holding all my trades for a long term, but there's just so many companies out there that if you really like a company, you believe in it, once that hype train goes in, you get some shares, and I think if you really want to hold them for the long term, you can make out positive. Got
it. Yeah, and I do want to mention, I know you mentioned MindMed as far as in the psychedelic space. We have an interview coming up with Kevin O'Leary this Thursday.
Oh, awesome!
I believe it's at 2 p.m. Eastern. So maybe you'll want to tune in for that, because I'm sure that'll come up.
Yeah, I'll definitely tune into that. I've been following them for about a year now, and I think that whole space is just super interesting. Probably, maybe my most favorite sector to kind of do research in and dive into is the psychedelic medicine space. I think it's going to have a massive impact on the world, and it's only really just starting to be understood. And institutional investors can't really get into that as well, because none of those companies are really on the NASDAQ or anything. So I think huge opportunity lies in that space, and MindMed is my number one pick for that one.
Yeah, there's a few different companies kind of OTC. We've had the CEO of Red Holland on before, the ticker's Truff for that one, TRUFF. Yep. But I agree that MindMed kind of looks to be like the leading company in that sector.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there's kind of some similarities between what we saw, like the early stages of the emerging cannabis markets. I mean, obviously this is, that was probably like 8 or years ago or so, but the way people were talking about cannabis then, and kind of the naysayers and haters, and you hear that now with the psychedelics, and it just seems kind of parallel to me. And so that's something that I'm really excited for, is watching that space, how it grows.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you make some really good points there. And because obviously Kevin O'Leary is a big investor in MindMed, I've been following all the things that he says about it over the past 6 to 12 months or whatever it's been. And he makes some interesting points about the psychedelic industry in particular, that I think it's more attractive for institutional investors and big money, because it's a medicinal play. It's not a recreational play. Whereas cannabis, it was always really going to be a recreational play, and it's going to take, America a long time to get that legal at a federal level. Whereas psychedelics, it's a medicinal play. So everything they're going to bring to market is going to be FDA approved. So I think it puts the big money at rest, that they're putting their money behind something that's federally legal, as opposed to cannabis, where it's legal at the state level, but the federal government can clamp down, which is why we've seen some of those stocks struggle over the past few years, because they never got the backing from the institutions after the retail investors built up the hype. So I think once the kind of trials for the psychedelic medicines come through the FDA and get approved, I think we're going to see just a massive explosion. And I think we're still super early. So I'm super excited about that industry.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'm curious too on your opinion is in that sector is, I know for MindMed, I was looking at it too the other day. They're using the actual drug they're using is from LSD, correct?
So MindMed is doing trials with, I think, 6 or 7 different psychedelics. So LSD is one of them. They have one that's sourced from MDMA, from psilocybin, from mushrooms, from ketamine, and a couple of other ones that it's just like a chemical name. I don't even know what's going on.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I was curious about, is because I know, looking into it, it seems like most companies are more focused on the psilocybin, which is what comes from the mushrooms. But it seems like, I know when I went to MindMed's website, they have a Project Lucy that's more from LSD. So it's oh, that's interesting. They're, using LSD as opposed to psilocybin, which it seems like the other companies are more focused in.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I love MindMed so much, is because they're experimenting with all these different trials for different drugs. And again, it's what Kevin O'Leary said. That's why he put his money behind them, is because they have so many different trials going. They're more likely to find that gold, that amazing treatment. It might not be this drug or this one or whatever, but whatever they've got 7 different things going. they're much more likely to find that one thing that is, really going to change the world.
I'm gonna pull up MindMed's chart. I know it's still OTC right now.
Yep. They've applied for their NASDAQ uplisting, and honestly, like, it sounds like it could happen pretty soon.
Are you're expecting that to happen pretty soon?
Yeah. So I believe they filed for their NASDAQ uplisting sometime in the past 6 months, and you never really know when it's going to happen. I think I read some people were expecting it to happen in March, so this month. Who knows? But yeah, I've been in MindMed for a while now, and that would be good news.
And do you have a broker like set up to trade these over the counter stocks, or?
Yeah. So I live in Canada, and I use RBC and Questrade to trade. So I have 2 different portfolios, but I can trade OTC out of either of those.
Got it. Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, looking at the chart there, I mean, it went a bit crazy there a few months ago, and I think it's kind of been in a consolidation zone for a while now.
Oh yeah, so here's what you're talking about, where it went crazy back in February. It went all the way up to 450.
Well, if you zoom out a little bit more, zoom to 6 months.
Okay, here's 6 months.
Yeah, so
right
there's
here.
the first run up there. Yeah,
all the way to $5. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first crazy run where we were all like, "Wow, this is really happening." And then it traded sideways there for a bit, and then now it's in a gray zone right now. Like this is a good buy zone here, I think.
I like how that looks. I mean, anytime I see a stock that goes up to a certain point, then drops down, but then holds that level that it drops down to, and kind of, like as you said, trade sideways.
Yeah,
I love that.
Absolutely. And I think one of the reasons for the recent dip was they just did an offering. So they've done they did an initial offering after that massive spike in December or whatever it was, which is kind of what killed that rally. And then it started rallying again like a month ago, and then they did another offering for another $70 million. So whenever a company like that does an offering, the shares go down. But I usually treat that as a buy the dip opportunity. So yeah, I think that's a good opportunity right now for sure.
Beautiful. I like that a lot. I wish I honestly don't have anything set up for me to buy OTC stocks. So I guess I'm just going to be kind of wait until it hits the NASDAQ.
I mean, a lot of people don't. I make a lot of my videos are about OTC stocks, and I've been getting into some penny stocks as well recently. And the number one comment that I always see is, "How do I buy these stocks?" Robinhood doesn't offer these stocks. Webull doesn't offer these stocks. So I get hundreds of comments of people that they literally do not know how to buy these stocks. So there's a huge disconnect between the new generation of investors and these kind of stocks, and they just don't know because if they're not on Robinhood, it's not within their world. So there's a huge opportunity there.
Do you know a company? I don't know if it's a ticker. The company's name called Atai, ATAI.
Yep.
What do they do?
So they're also in the psychedelic space. I don't know exactly what their angle is, but I've been watching them for a little bit. I think they're probably psilocybin medicine based, but honestly, I don't know exactly what they do. They've been on my psychedelics watch list for a while, though. I'll tell you that much.
Got it. We had Tony from Toledo asking us about it. I didn't know anything about it either, so I wanted to know if
it's definitely been a hot ticker. I've seen a lot of people talking about it on like Twitter and stuff.
Oh, well, he's asking, do you know when it's going public? So maybe I guess it's not. He said one of the most talented psychedelics companies. Interesting.
Oh,
so maybe
that's Atai, right? Okay, my mistake. So there was another one I was talking about. So Atai, that's probably one of the biggest psychedelic companies that's going to be going public. It's backed by some massive investors. I think maybe Peter Thiel is behind that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's behind Palantir too, so it seems like if Peter Thiel's behind something, that
he's behind a lot of things. So outside, people are expecting that to be a massive IPO in the psychedelic space. I think what they are is basically they're like a holding company, and they own a bunch of different companies or different things in the space. So I think they would be the biggest psychedelic company by market cap when they do go public.
Yeah. And I don't know if you struggle with this, but like sometimes just like looking at tickers and charts like all day, like every day, I feel like I need to like take a step back and kind of look at the bigger picture sometimes.
For sure. You can get lost in trying to read the charts and stuff. And that's why I love investing and researching in the industries that I am going into, like these clean energy and the psychedelics medicine, because all you have to do is take a step back and think about where the world is going to be in 5 and 10 years and how important all these industries are going to be, like psychedelic medicine and cannabis and electric vehicles, clean energy. Like it is going to be everywhere. We're really just at the start of the boom in all of these industries. Even though they're all super hyped, I still don't think people grasp how influential they are going to be in our everyday lives in 5 to 10 years. So you really just got to be confident in like the macro trends of where these industries are going, and kind of take solace that your money is in a good place.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something, at least I can incorporate more of, is kind of like taking a step back, looking at the overall trends. And that's something that I, like to do with this industry in particular, because like, in addition to all these companies doing great research and stuff right now, you have these like bigger trends, like with COVID and the lockdowns and stuff. We saw an increase of people dealing with anxiety and things like that. And it seems like all the solutions that we have right now is on the medicine front, a lot of them aren't great as far as what people deal with, like potential bad side effects from benzos, from like stuff like Xanax and stuff that doctors currently are prescribing for anxiety. So it seems like there's definitely room to grow, and definitely, it's like 10 years ago, all we were doing was prescribing oxys for pain medicine. And now, some of those people are able to get off oxys and those hard painkillers with cannabis. So it's like, I foresee something similar happening in that. I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
Absolutely. I think you got it right there. The events of the last year have really just brought to light how important coming up with these new types of solutions are. I think when you really dive into the psychedelic medicine and the size of the market as a whole, I've done, tried to find out as many of the numbers as I can. I think people are really underestimating the value of the market. When someone says, the market is worth 10 billion and MindMed can maybe take a 10% or whatever. I think the actual size of the market is a lot bigger than that, because there's so many people that have these mental illnesses that just aren't getting treated at all. So when these new, hopefully better working solutions come into the market, the size of the market will actually expand, because people are going to want these drugs, or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, I think it's a super important and super just interesting space to be investing in. And I think it's a long-term trend where we're going to see, some companies, really. MindMed, what's it trading at? $3 a share right now. Like honestly,
yeah, 292 right now.
292. Like it wouldn't surprise me to see that go over 10 in 2021 for sure.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning when we started talking about this is just I honestly don't know like that much about the particular companies, what drugs they're using, or whatever. I'm just very excited to kind of watch this market emerge, watch it grow, because as I said earlier, I kind of see some similarities that I saw with the way people talked about cannabis as that market was emerging. And obviously it seems like with cannabis we still have some more growing in that market to do, but from where that market as a whole is right now compared to 10 years ago, it's night and day.
Absolutely. And I feel a bit of a connection with a lot of these companies. Most of them are based in Canada right now. So, for me, myself being a Canadian, I think it's great to see a lot of the innovation coming from north of the border. And yeah, so whether they're based in Toronto or based in Vancouver, where I am, I just love to see it. So
yeah, remind me, we have a Canadian company that's actually sponsoring an upcoming biotech called Numinous, I believe. Yeah.
So Numinous is probably like my number 2 or number 3 pick in the space.
Okay. Based out of that's over the counter right now too, right?
Yep. Yeah, so that one's based out of Vancouver.
Got it. I got it pulled up right here. Yeah. No, so if we look at the 6 month, we can see like it had a run up similar to MindMed up here, where it got all the way up to $1.90, and now it's back down to 97 cents.
Yeah. Again, so MindMed kind of led the charge in that first run up in December, I guess it was, and then all the other ones kind of followed up there. And yeah, Numinous is another great company. They are doing work with psilocybin, and they are opening up their own line of physical care centers where you can go in and get treated, which is an angle that a few of the other companies in this space. Another big one is Field Trip, which actually operates physical mental centers. I think they have them in Toronto, LA, New York, and Chicago. So people are really high on Field Trip because you can actually go to their centers right now and you can get treated for mental illnesses with psychedelics. The only legal psychedelic on the market right now is ketamine based. And I watched a few documentaries about it, but people are super high on companies like Field Trip and Numinous because they are going into the physical care center space. It's a bit of a different angle than what MindMed is doing. It's similar, but yeah, it's just another other thing that you can add to their portfolio of value that they're going to give to customers that need these treatments.
Right. And I know in the limited research that I've done in this sector, I know that's kind of something that some people are foreseeing or foreshadowing, that the future of like mental health visits could be going to a doctor and doing like a guided trip with something. And it's like, oh, well, it seems so out there to hear about it now, but who knows where we're going to be at in 10 years.
100%. There was a pretty good documentary that was on, or not a documentary, it was on CNN. It was a special about psychedelics that aired about maybe a month or two ago. I don't know if you caught it. But they got a bunch of people that had various mental illnesses in and showed how they were being treated by these new psychedelic drugs. And it was exactly what you said. They go in and they have a guided trip with a licensed professional using different substances. And whether it's PTSD, anxiety, addiction, or trauma, they were seeing just, an effect of these substances that is 10 times or 100 times better than the over-the-counter drugs that they're getting from Big Pharma right now. Got it.
I'm seeing a comment. So I guess there's a ETF set up for psychedelics. It's PSYK. I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah, psych.
It's not pulling up on my, probably because it's like OTC. It's not pulling up on Benzinga Pro. But
yeah, it's psych.ne. I think it's Neo on the Neo markets.
We might not have.
You might not have that one.
It's just on Canadian, or?
Yeah, I think it's Canadian only. So that just launched. I'm not personally in that ETF because I've got a bunch of the actual companies themselves. That just launched like a month ago. So it was kind of like a bit of a landmark in the psychedelic industry to see like a first ETF come out, which is really good to see. Probably brings a little bit more institutional money into it. But no, I'm a big MindMed guy and Numinous and a couple of the other ones. So I didn't feel the need to get into the ETF at this stage.
Yeah, it seems like if the ETF is like comprised mostly of stocks that you're already holding, that it's, that you're already covered in that. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I'm not a huge ETF guy in general. I was when I started out before I was really deep diving into the individual companies themselves. It's a great way for someone that doesn't know about any of the companies and just wants to get into the space. I would say the Psych ETF is probably a good option. I did have a look at the companies that were listed that they own in the ETF, and it was all the typical suspects that you would think. And then there was a couple of, I think they have Johnson & Johnson in there as well, which was interesting.
Weird. Has Johnson & Johnson made any announcements on that front?
I haven't seen anything, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll have to look into that. All right, so we got about 5 minutes left or so. I want to kind of pivot from psychs real quick. I know you've got a few other sectors you're into. I wanted to ask about EVs. So sure. Kind of like the psych sector, we've seen a huge run up in EVs. Do you have some favorites in that sector?
Yeah. So EVs is probably just up there with psychedelics with my favorite sector to invest in. Obviously, it's been red hot over the past 6 months. Other than the usual suspects that everyone's investing in, like Tesla and Neon stuff, and I was pretty early on the CCIV train with the SPACs. I've been really diving into the EV SPACs. It just seems like there were so many coming out there for a few months, which was really interesting. Some of the ones that I think are really interesting right now are FUV, Arcimoto.
Yep.
Yeah, they do.
We've had their CEO, Mark Frohnmayer, I don't know how to say his last name, I hope that's right, on the show before. It's a super interesting company.
Really cool company. Like I want one of those things. I want to drive around in one of those little FUVs. Like, have you seen how cool they are? Like, they look awesome.
Do you know who the young investor is?
Yeah.
He's big on FUV. We've had him on the show too. So every time I asked Mark, the CEO of FUV, if we can send young investor one overseas to Britain, but
he won't be able to drive it for another 6 years or something.
Yeah, something like that. Who knows?
But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool company. I kind of had a bit of a dive into what their long-term mission is a couple of weeks ago. So, they have these fun utility vehicles, but they're also making them for, commercial use, for medical vehicles, for delivery vehicles. So I think other than just, people buying these FUVs just to have a bit of fun with, which a lot of people probably will, I think there's a use case for, hospitals and medevacs and, downtown delivery vehicle. Like if you're delivering a pizza or something like that, I feel like that's great. That's perfect. You can zip around. So I think that's.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I think it's a lot more than what people think when they first take a look at it, and they think it's just like a fun vehicle thing. But even looking at the chart, like, it went crazy there, and it got beaten down with the rest of the tech sector and the EV sector in specifically for that last market correction. But yeah, look, I think it's come back already quite a bit. I think it's in a good zone right now, and I believe in the company, and I really like it.
Yeah, I know. So basically, well, here, real quick, I want to address this comment or question in the comments. Someone asked about what about J&J. Basically, we were just saying that J&J was included in this psych ETF, but we don't know why, really. Neither Shane or I know if J&J has done anything in that industry or why they're in that ETF. But back to FUV. So basically, they make these vehicles that they're not even like kind of like a legal, I don't want to say loophole, but they're not even considered like cars. They're so you don't need like to get a license plate on them or anything.
Right.
And they're basically like 3-wheeled electric, kind of those like spider things,
Yeah.
And so I was kind of I'm not going to say bearish on the company, but I was like, what? I don't get, like, as you said, like the use case. And then as you look into it more, you're like, wow, every single hospital could be using these instead of whatever vehicles you're using, or every single college campus could be using these as for their campus vehicles. Every single, at like a big sporting complex, if you have like 8 different fields or whatever, coaches can ride, so it seems like they do have a niche that they can fill in that use case. It'll just be interesting to see if that catches on or not.
For sure. I think it's, as you said, it's a bit more than meets the eye when you see this fun vehicle and you think it's just basically a toy. But again, like what I was saying at the start of when I came on here, a lot of these companies, they run up on the hype, and the fundamentals may not match it. But if you're looking for a shorter swing trade or whatever, a company like this is a perfect example where it has a cool product, it's flashy, it's got the hype behind it. So you get in early, and you could hold the stock for a few weeks while it runs up, and then cash out if that's your angle. These are great companies to do it with. But then the other side, if you're really looking to the long-term mission of the company, I think there's so many use cases. The one thing I will say is like, this is for warm climate only. You don't really want to be driving one of these things around in New York in the winter.
Yeah, it seems like Canada might not be their biggest market.
No, summer only. I think summer only for our brief 3-month summer only.
Yeah. Oh, someone in the comments is saying they're having a difficult time finding a vendor for their windshields due to the complexity of their design. That's interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is a super custom design.
Yeah, so that's just what was interesting to me, like looking into it, is it's that they're in this like weird spot, like they're not really cars, they're not really motorcycles, like they're street legal, but you don't need to get a license plate for them. They can go up to like 65 or something. So if you really wanted to, you could get on a highway with one of them or something. Yeah. But I don't know. They're not really designed to be driven on the freeway or anything like that. So
no.
I'm kind of just like sitting on the sidelines waiting to see if that kind of like the business to business model like really picks up for them, like, or if they're going to be selling a bunch to hospitals, college campuses, etc. Then yeah, it's a very interesting company. If they're only selling to individuals for like the fun utility, like it being a toy basically, then I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is a wait and see for sure from that perspective. But if you're looking for hype stocks, which this market is full of them, this was a great one. You could have made a really, really good profit there in a few months. And I think right now, I mean, the electric vehicle sector as a whole has just got crushed over the past.
Ooh, that's a good point. Someone said, imagine Florida retirement communities.
Oh, like absolutely. Yeah. It's like a superpowered golf cart.
Yeah, exactly. You get, just drive down the street to your friend's house. You don't need a, but
yeah.
I think it, like I was gonna say, I think it's really fun. Like their vehicles are obviously it's a fun utility. But I mean, the ticker's fun. I do like. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna buy it right now, but I'm just gonna put it on my watch list and keep watching this one.
For sure. Another electric vehicle company that I want to mention that I really like is it's a SPAC, Lion Electric. So it's NGA. So they are bringing the company Lion Electric public, which is a Canadian.
Is the ticker NGA?
Yeah, Northern Genesis.
Okay, I got them.
Yep. So
this had a nice run up back in January, all the way up to 35.
Big time. So they are bringing Lion Electric public. Lion Electric is a Canadian company, which is one of the reasons why I like that one so much. Lion Electric makes commercial vehicles, electric, so trucks, vans, and buses. They already have a contract with Amazon. So Amazon is involved in the business for delivery trucks. All going well. I could see Amazon rolling out a huge line of Lion Electric delivery trucks. So that's one of the reasons why it was so hyped back in late 2020, which is a run that I got in. And yeah, it's been bleeding out significantly since then, and just got crushed with the latest correction. But I think it's having a pretty good day today. What's up 16% there?
Let me see. I'll go to the 1 day chart real quick. Oh yeah, so I can't see percentages right now. I don't have it set up for
Just
that.
at the
But
top there, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's up 15%.
Yeah, I think this one's going to come back in a big way as the spotlight maybe starts to shine back on EVs. And I think a lot of the retail investors kind of only focus on consumer cars, so Tesla, NIO, FUV, got that kind of stuff. But there's a huge opportunity in the commercial EV sector. So there's a bunch of companies that I like in that space, and Lion Electric would probably be number one. We saw what happened. There was that whole workhorse thing with the USPS postal office. That was kind of another one. But yeah, Lion Electric, they've got facilities in Canada. They're based out of Quebec. So I'm always supporting the Canadian companies. So yeah, Lion Electric is probably my number one choice in the commercial EV sector.
I love it. All right, man. Well, we got to wrap here. We got a new show starting right now, an ETF show. I don't know if you want to stick around and watch some of that, but
yeah, sure.
We loved having you on. I'd love to get you back on the show again.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. And if anyone wants to check out my TikTok videos, you can follow me at Jolly Green Money on Twitter or at Jolly Green Investor on TikTok.
Got it. I'm gonna post your TikTok and Twitter links in there one more time, and then let's stay in contact. And anytime we got some news on the psych industry or EVs, we'll bring you back on.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Aaron.
No problem.
Cheers.
Cheers.